Welcome to Up and Away, the restaurant marketing podcast, saving the world from bad marketing, brought to you by Qubriux, the all-in-one platform for loyalty and customer engagement. In today's topic, we're going to be talking about when and what to outsource specifically in marketing. I want you to meet Arun. He's the founder and CEO of Qubriux. He's a tech veteran with over 2 decades of experience. Before Qubriux, he was the principal data scientist and architect for developing Starbucks' personalized customer engagement platform. Hi, I'm Rev Ciancio. I'm a hospitality marketing consultant, tech evangelist, content creator, co-founder and CMO of Handcraft Burgers in Brew, New York City, and also the CMO at Salad House in New Jersey. And I'm an avid fidget spinner guy. Okay, let's start with a question for my fellow marketers. Hopefully there's lots of you out there. How many hats are you wearing right now? Now, physically, I'm wearing one, right? But as a marketer, we're the social media manager, we're the email copywriter. Are you the lead Canva engineer, the data analyst, the SEO specialist, the loyalty wizard? And oh yeah, we're also supposed to be the strategic mastermind behind all of it. Meanwhile, that Google search ad is not going to optimize itself, right? Am I right? Uh, it's the friendly hero complex. It's sort of what we call it, right? We want to be helpful, we want to be responsible, we want to be all encompassing, we want to stay mindful of the budget. And in reality, we end up doing what 10 things kind of like okay-ish, right? It's that whole like master of nothing, jack of all. When we actually are the master, we just have too many to-do list items. Okay. Our marketing often becomes a collection of like good enough campaigns instead of a well-oiled growth machine. And I like to call this, and I'm going to get out the prop for this one. I call it playing marketing whack-a-mole. Like, what's the marketing thing I got to work on right now? Okay. I say it all the time. Okay. One of my personal mottos is be awesome at 2 things and outsource everything else. If you're just good at something and have no desire to actually master it, that means somebody else should do it. Okay. Today, we're diving into what and when to outsource in your marketing. And to help us figure out what to keep in house, what to go out of house with, we've got the master of building efficient systems, the founder and CEO of Qubriux and Scale AI, Arun. Arun, are you ready to help our listeners delegate and dominate?
Well, I'm waiting to jump into this topic, right? This is I think every business have this question: what should I keep in house and what should I do outsource? And I myself, have this conversation every now and then, like what should I keep in and what should I outsource?
Yeah, I mean, look, I talk to my wife when we want to, when we want to leave the kid at home. What do? You get a babysitter. That's outsourcing. Like,
Exactly. So before I go there, from a marketing perspective, Rev, what what are the things you absolutely outsource? What are the first 2 things you said about this I'm going to outsource in marketing?
so the way I think about what to outsource is kind of what I said in my intro is like, if I know I'm never going to master it or I'm never going to take the time to be good at it, but I know it needs to get done, just go find somebody else, right? Go find somebody else to do it. And I think it depends really from a restaurant perspective what type of organization you are as to, what you should outsource and what you shouldn't. But honestly, the first thing you outsource is strategy. Okay. There is somebody else out there who has already played this game, who's already seen the movie, who already knows the best practices. And if you want to go at the speed you actually want to go find the people who've already done it and pay them to help you go faster. I mean, you've built a million systems. I'm sure you're not everything is insourced, right?
Absolutely. So here is my point. Few things. The way I look at it is like this, right? Of course, there's only one single person. At one extreme, I mean, it starts from one person, like at one time, right? One person, how much he knows. Now that person thinks about, I don't know XYZ things. Now I need to get someone who knows, right? Now typically the word outsource and comes in the context of whether I should keep that person as a as a full-time employee in my team, as an employee in my team and associated with me, or should I hire an external team for that, right? External individual and keep them external to my org in principle, right? So I think a lot of time people look at this way that should I get someone on a W-2 and call it as in-house, and then should I get as at 11099 or hire an agency and call it as being outsourced? But the way I look at it is that, I mean, for me that is immaterial. The way I pay a person, what is that contractual relationship, whether it's in the form of being an FTE or a permanent employee is in the team versus someone I outsource to an external individual or an agency. I hire someone from Upwork, where the commercial relationship is like different. But at the end of the day, the work is work, and what we need to get done doesn't change. Whether it's a so the way I look at it is this: what is my core competency? And if I have to hire the best person in the world, if it's in marketing, can I hire the best marketer into my company and keep him satisfied in all way? That can I pay him the best of the market or best of the best money? Or the best people need everything, they need to be compensated best. Can I do that? Even after that, can I retain him? Can I give him the kind of challenging work? Can I give him the kind of uh typical the career growth which that person is looking for in my company? And that is a big distinguishing factor. Is if I had to hire someone into Qubriux, if he's a techie, okay, I have pretty much know that I can hire him in Qubriux payroll, and then help him grow in his career. But can I do with a totally different thing where Qubriux needs help? Maybe not. And that person is better thriving in a company which specializes in that particular domain. For coming to restaurant perspective, right? It makes sense to hire a chef. That's a core business. And if you're a good restaurant, you can, chef is at the core, and you can give him challenging work environment, challenging work, help him grow in that. But if you're a relatively small restaurant, can you expect the best marketer to come to you in work as part of your in-house team? And then can you retain him, and can you give him challenging work, and can you satisfy him in his work? That's the question you have to ask. If you don't, then I would outsource to a specialist agency or a specialist people who work independently out of me, so that he can get the best of both worlds. That's the way I look at it. But in the absence of that, whether it's a W2 or a W1099, that's just a way to structure the relationship. Does it make sense, Revo?
Yeah. There are
Yeah.
certain core competencies in the business that like have to be a part of the business, right? I think on top of that, kind of the way I think about it is this: it's like, okay, if you need something done, you don't have somebody to do it, and it's not a core competency, like a chef, right? You have to have a chef, right? Or if you're a tech company, you have to have an engineer, right? Like for me, like I'm a consultant, I need a bookkeeper, like right. If it's not a core competency, right? Can I outsource to somebody that's going to help me build the program that eventually I can insource? Okay. So if I need to go fast right now, hiring somebody isn't easy. Hiring, training, getting them up to speed, learning the system, that takes time. It's worth doing, but it takes time. But if I need it solved right now, outsource with the goal of building it towards insourcing. That's how I think about it. So marketing as a restaurant function, that's what we talk about. Um, if you know your restaurant or your restaurant brand needs something augmented in the marketing, your social media is lagging, your loyalty needs some cleaning up, your emails suck, your website's terrible, right? Like just get an agency or outsource today, get that thing moving. And while you're doing that, think about, if I had somebody in house, what would they have them do, and write it down.
Exactly. But Robert, we also have to look at it, right? Once that person write down what they would do, once that person is in-house, what they will do, is that thing will give him enough challenge and motivation to continue to work. Like Rev, let's take Rev. Rev is one of the best marketer out there for restaurants. Let's say that I start my sandwich shop with one location, two location, and let's say I have a lot of money, and I tell Rev, come and join me. Leave your agency, leave your marketing. You just work full time. I'm going to give you a lot of money, and then I'm going to give you a lot of money. And Rev said, okay, that's a lot of money. Let me join Arun's sandwich shop. Rev comes, and after a month, Rev says, what's this? A simple one sandwich shop. All I'm doing is Monday waking up and do a few campaigns, and that's all I do. I'm not more motivated again, right? So then the creative person in Rev's mind is not satisfied, right? There's money there, but you see the other aspects. Now Rev feel that, no, what, I'm better back to do my original thing where I'm helping number of restaurants doing complex marketing challenges. That's what I do, right? So that's the process. It's not just about whether I can hire someone. The question is that, are you large enough? Are you challenging enough for that person to work for you for a long time? That's kind of what it boils down to.
I appreciate that I gave here's what I need, and you were like, well, what about the other person's needs? But 1,000%. right? 1,000%. I can tell you one of the reasons I'm a consultant, the reason I'm an outsourced person is when I was in-house, my wings felt clipped, right? I'd go work for a company within 12 to 18 months. I'd be like, I'm bored. You know what I mean? So yes, you're right. And considering the other person's needs is, do you have enough? Kudos, man. Absolutely. That's great thinking. Can I keep that person engaged? Okay, I have a really important question though. Really important question about something you just had. What is the signature sandwich at Arun's sandwich shop?
What would be the signature sandwich? If I have to open a sandwich shop, I think it would be uh, my regular, spicy chicken sandwich with a lot of pickles in it.
Really, I hate pickles. I love chicken sandwiches though.
So
But
in fact, I eat sandwich or burger. Normally I want, but only if there are like jalapeno pickles there. Then I like it. If I can
ooh,
put.
pickled jalapenos, I'm into. That I got. Okay, now I know. Pickled jalapeno chicken sandwich. I got you. Arun sandwich shop. I have a signature burger at Handcraft. It's on our secret menu. It's a smashed patty with sharp American cheese, griddled onions, sriracha aioli, jalapenos, bacon, and crunchy peanut butter.
Oh,
We d-
wow.
we don't sell a lot. Okay, let's move on. Let's get into some nitty gritty here. I want to talk specifically about content creation and social media. Um, do you have thoughts on where restaurants should? I just talk about what I think restaurants should do with that?
No, no, go ahead, bro. This is your on your sweet spot. Go ahead. In your
Okay,
wheelhouse.
so I believe that nobody creates better content than people who are on the inside. Okay. So ultimately, like who's going to make the best content to use on social media? Who's going to make the best content for emails? Who's going to understand how best to like program ideas into your loyalty? It's an internal person, right? You have to be close to the brand. You have to understand what it's like to walk in the four walls of the restaurant. You have to understand to be what it's like as a customer. You have to understand what it's like to the guest journey for you to be really effective. However, that's also the first thing I would outsource, right? So like menu photos. You're going to launch a new store, you're going to launch a new menu. You probably don't have an internal resource who's going to take really great looking menu oriented photos. Get somebody who's that's what they do. So outsource menu photos, okay? When it comes to social media, okay, I would start by outsourcing my content, right? I think that ultimately the content that does best on social media for restaurants is content that looks like it was created by a guest. So use UGC, right? But we can't rely on our guests to create enough content to fill our feed, right? So we got to have somebody who can create great content. And generally, the smaller your brand, the less likely there's somebody on your team that can do that. I would start by outsourcing social content. Even if they're the person that's going to create the content isn't managing the channel, okay? You can have an internal resource that manages the channel, but an outsource to create. So again, I would outsource menu photos. I would outsource some content creation, maybe not all. Okay. The next thing I would think about again from content creation and social media is somebody's got to manage it. So somebody's got to take photos. Somebody's got to create compelling videos. Somebody's got to get photos for email, right? Who's going to manage it? If you don't have the person internally that's going to manage it, right? Go outsource. And there's a fourth level. Okay. So photos, content, management. And this is the piece everybody leaves out, Arun. This is the piece everybody forgets. Community. If you're going to post to social media, you want your guests to engage. And the best way to get your guests to engage is to engage back. So if they're going to share the content, you got to share the stories. If they're going to comment on your content, you got to reply back. And those are kind of the four levels, right?
Yes. So one way to look at this is think that how much of that specialist, the person, if you're thinking to outsource a particular aspect of your business to a person or a group of people, think about how much of that person's thought process needs to be influenced and stimulated by what your core business do day in and day out. or how much he can be separated, how much he can think independently of your core business. If you think that that's possible, then it's good candidate to be outsourced. If you think that he needs to be influenced almost every day by what you do at your core business, then it makes sense to keep that person's closer, right? Now, I believe that there is a middle ground here. And now, if I say that if I had to hire somebody like a specialist who's best in the world, and if I know that I can't get him in-house, one way to do is that keep it, you can outsource, but let that person come in and then be with your team and understand your operations, be with your team for a few days or few weeks, whatever you may find it as appropriate. The whole idea is that you need to influence that person's creativity by your own core business. That's how I see it. This may make sense. So if he needs to create menu photos, photos of your menus, and then he needs to understand core how you prepare your food, I would rather ask him to come in, spend a week in the kitchen, spend a week in the operations before he goes and does his thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think that goes back to the whole like why I layered it as photo content management community, because the community piece, you have to understand the brand to be able to manage the community, right?
Yes.
That's the hardest level of that. Taking a photo of a chicken sandwich is not hard. It does help if you understand who the brand is for sure, but the community piece is harder than taking the photo, right? And right, so whether you're going to insource or outsource, making sure that the person whose job it is gets the brand, gets the voice, totally important, and it's worth spending the time to make sure that, again, insource or outsource, that they get it. I totally agree. I have a question for you because you've probably done way more than I have. When you do outsource, what kind of expectations do you have on them, or how do you manage that?
My expectations won't change. I mean, I want the expectation is basically I need to get the job done. I need to get the best out, whatever it is, right? That doesn't change. And what only changes whether the in source or outsource is based on, based on the factors I said earlier. Do I have a, as simple as that, do I have the time and resource even to find the best person to do that? If not, I'll find a group of people who are already doing and who are already best at it, so that I don't have to go through the rigors of attracting and finding the right kind of talent for that. To your point, yes, the expectations go. I don't think the expectations don't change. Only the process to get that person associate with me might change. That's the only difference.
Amen. I think for me, the way I think about it is I would ask the person I'm outsourcing to, or the organization I'm bringing in as an outsource, what should I expect? Right. So they're going to, in that case, tell me what what they deliver or what they think they can deliver. Okay. So now they're setting my expectations. Right. But then I would say, okay, on top of that, I would like to expect A, B, C, D, and E. So that at the onset, they've told me what they believe is important. I've told them what I believe is important, and then set a cadence for how that's going to get measured. So social media, they might say, we can do 3 posts a week, a mix of carousels and photos, managed on 4 channels, blah, 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 blah. Okay. And I'd be like, okay, well, I also want to know what the performance of those things were. And then I want once a month for you to tell me what you learned and how to improve it. Make sense? So the idea is they're gonna we need to mutually meet in the middle based on what they think they can deliver and what my expectations are. And if you haven't done that and you don't review that constantly, you're gonna be frustrated either as the person that's being outsourced to or the person that's outsourcing, because you haven't set a level of expectations. And if you don't recheck it, I mean, you've probably run into this with engineers. If you don't recheck, hey, do these expectations still make sense? You could also get tripped up there.
Absolutely. Makes sense.
Okay. Let's talk about the middle ground here. Okay. Now, I consider technology to be great equalizer, right? It can either be the tool or the measurement process, right? If something happens over and over and over, like sending emails or running a rewards program, right? There should be and probably is something that does that well, kind of like Qubriux, right? Maybe even Canva is a good example here, right? When would you look for tech versus an agency, right? Like, at what point you're like, I think a person can solve this problem, or technology? Like, where would you think about that?
Tech is just a way to express or implement the insights in your mind. right? Whatever I know now, let's say that I have a great design in my mind. Now I have Canva, so I can do it faster and easier. Otherwise, I had to find other, other ways to do that, which was we find another designer or somebody, but the idea and an insight comes from my mind, right? The first thing you have to look at, do I have the person or team who carries that insights to build something, right? The mind, do I have the mind share of that? Once I have that, then look at, okay, if I have the tech, fine, do I that? I have the great idea here. Now here is Canva. I can do it with Canva. Go ahead and do it. But if that idea, if the thought process of the knowledge itself is lacking, and if that's something which you'll find in agency, then your tech can't solve that for you. Correct? So I look at the human factor, right? The it starts with the human and the mind, then it goes to the tech. So if I don't have the first part in my org, then I have to find it externally. Tech is universally available now. Everyone can like adopt. I mean, even now with AI, some part of the mind itself is available to you also. This is AI mind at some point.
I totally agree. You can't remove the human element, right? Tech is only there to help humans go faster, right? And so for me, it's like, well, sometimes you need outsource person or people and outsource tech. So it's like, yes, we can do that, but we are way more efficient with this thing, right? Perfect example, right? A pen. Okay. Before pens, people were like pounding hammers and in stone into Sanskrit, right? But this pen, we go much, much faster, but it still takes the human to write the tome. Okay.
Exactly.
That's really simple, silly example. I have by the way, I have lots of props on the desk here. So we can have prop jokes with, whack-a-mole hammers and whatnot. But I think that's it. That sometimes it's the tool that helps the human go faster. But sometimes there are tools like, if I'm going to use something, let's be practical, right? I'm a restaurant. I need to send an email weekly. I could go use Constant Contact. I could go use MailChimp, and they're perfectly good tools, right? But do those tools talk to my POS? Do those tools talk to my CRM? Do those tools talk to my rewards program? Or does that actually just create another manual process, right?
Oh,
In that case, there's probably a better tool, something like a Qubriux, where it's like, well, yes, this email is attached to SMS. This email is attached to loyalty. This email is attached to that thing. And so in that case, it's like, well, we just need to make a better tech decision.
absolutely. Right. Let's say until today's age of ChatGPT, tech always was an enabler. Now I would be curious. I mean, as someone who also work in the AI domain, I'm excited for that feature where we are developing artificial minds, but until now, tech was always an enabler.
And I'll tell you this, this is me admitting this for the first time. I use AI all day, every day. I, I think AI is an unbelievable tool if you know what to do with it, right? Unbelievable tool. I just went on a 2-week road trip. You know who my co-pilot was? ChatGPT. I would be
It has to
driving.
be. It has to be in the top 10 innovations in the human history. Certain things changes the course of humanity, and AI is one of it. Anyway, I think we are digressing a little bit. Okay, coming back to the topic.
That's a different episode. It's a different episode.
Thank you. So coming back to it, so Rev, on the flip side, like what should a restaurant marketer almost should never outsource? Or when you work with your restaurant clients, what do you see that, Rev, I want to keep it in-house? Or have you ever felt that, in marketing, have you ever felt strongly about it?
Amen. I kind of think you've already opened the box here. Like, it's the human element, right? It's you can't outsource understanding and speaking on behalf of the brand. You can outsource somebody helping you to develop the brand or develop the brand brand voice, but that's a collaboration. That's not, here, you figure it out. That's, help me figure this out. Okay. So you can outsource somebody to help you figure out the human element and figure out the brand, but you can't outsource being in charge of the brand, and you can't be outsourced being in charge of the voice, and you can't outsource the human element, right? So I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. The hamburger shop. When you go to Handcraft Burgers and Brew, we have never had a cash register. You do not walk up to a counter and somebody does not say, "Can I help you?" and you stare at a menu while 7 other people are behind you in line, be like, "Oh my God, just get the burger." You know what I mean? We don't have a cash register. We have 4 kiosks. Okay. However, we did not remove the human element of that. There's a host. So when you go to a fancy restaurant, you walk in the door and somebody says, "Hey, welcome to Arun Steakhouse. How many are party tonight? Let me take you to the table." Right? There's a host. We have a host at the burger shop. "Hey, welcome to Handcraft Burgers and Brew. Have you been here before? No, amazing. Let me take you over to a kiosk. These are our signature burgers. We have this, blah, blah, and then you order." Okay. We've augmented the human element. We've outsourced, in this case, the ordering piece of it. If you go read our reviews at the burger shop, 1 out of every 2 says the customer service is available. You ordered yourself. Like, you touched a screen, right? So it's a perfect example of, like, you can't remove the touch, right? You can't remove the human element. You already opened this. I mean, I'm assuming you agree here.
Exactly, yes. But there's one catch here, something which, I'm letting the secret out. Something which we are working on is that can we create an AI marketer? Can I create an AI marketer who can do as good as a job as a Rev?
Oh,
Right?
for sure. For sure.
And that interesting problem that would be like, at least for a lot of small and medium restaurants out there, can we, it's a mix of some of, the way I'm thinking is that a combination of automations and identifying patterns from the data and then enabling automations automatically, like automatically enabling new automations on the rent. Can I create some sort of a AI mind to do that with some sort of a human guidance?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. Okay. You're going to a drive-through, you pull up your car. What's your expectation when you stop your car in front of the menu voice box? What's your expectation right then? That somebody says, "Hey, can I welcome to the restaurant, can I help you?" Your expectation is, my car has pulled up, you start talking, right?
Exactly. And then
What happens if that person is in the bathroom or filling soda glasses or putting a bag together? There's nobody to greet you, right? So now
that
drive-through restaurants have an AI bot. "Hey, welcome to Wendy's. Thanks for ordering." And then my expectation has been met, right? I got greeted as soon as I pulled up, and then somebody would take the order.
absolutely. I mean, there's a lot to do that, right? If my expectation would be in this world is now, hey, can it understand me and then say greet me, hey, hello Arun, and then do you want your regular burger or should I, give you the chef's recommendation for the week, something like that. You can even
Amen.
personalize.
Amen. Okay. We only have a few minutes left here. The one thing we have not tackled yet is cost. Okay. How do you think a restaurant owner should think about the ROI or the spend on outsourcing? Like, how do you justify paging an agency or freelancer when you're kind of watching every dollar? How do you think about that?
I think so my opinion is that you will have to, let's say if you want to, so the reason, one of the reason you want to go for an agency is that you believe that the best person to do that work is not in-house, or I cannot have that person in the in-house, so I'm going to an agency. So if you have to hire the same capable person into your own, you might end up paying more. If I have to hire Rev into my restaurant as full time, I have to pay tons of money to Rev. Whereas if I'm consulting with Rev, I can get the same thing there because Rev can get the same amount of money with consulting with multiple restaurants, right? So what I'm thinking is that you tend to have, if you want to get the best possibly, and then if you're a small restaurant, you probably possibly is better off going to a good agency and consulting with that, right? Otherwise, you'll have to spend a ton of money to get the same kind of expertise.
Totally agree. I think about it in terms of time and opportunity costs.
Yeah,
If
exactly.
if I don't do this, what do I miss out on? Right? If I go if I don't hire somebody to help me speed this up, what am I not getting? Right? And then mix that in with what you said. If I bring this inside, how much longer does it take me to do? Right?
Exactly.
Can I get it done now? And then, what's the ROI in it? Well, that a little bit goes back to the expectations conversation. So if you're hiring somebody whose job it is to generate new customers for your business, well, okay, a little bit it's how many did you generate, right? But if it's, "Hey, can you run my social media for me?" It's like, well, how much longer would it have taken me to do that? And would I have done as good of a job? Right. So it's about time and speed and efficiency and opportunity cost. That's how I think about it.
That's right. But there's one thing that if you know that you have ideas and you know the stuff, technology is out there to speed up the process. It's all coming to the human factor. Like if you think you have great marketing ideas, you know the stuff. Now you have technology to do that. But in that case, it makes sense to do it yourself. If you think you don't have enough understanding of marketing itself, then it will take a long time to have that created. Yeah.
Great tools help all of us move forward. I'm going to tell you a funny story before we wrap. My accountant right now, the guy that does my taxes, is amazing. I've been with him for like 12 years. He's unbelievable. I'd recommend him to anybody in our business. Okay. Before him, that guy sucked. Okay. And here's the moment I knew it was time to change to a different person. We had a meeting to discuss my annual taxes. Okay. It's on the calendar. He doesn't get on the video. He's just on his phone. Right. And I hear a dot matrix printer in the background. Beep, 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 beep. And I was like, what are you printing? And he's like, oh, I'm printing over the spreadsheet you emailed me. I was like, you're doing what? He's like, I'm printing the spreadsheet. I was like, you do not understand my business. I am a digital marketer. I'm a digital native. I believe in digital principles. And I hired the guy who needs to print the spreadsheet. This is not mixed. That's how you know you outsource the wrong person. All right, listen, again, we could probably go deep on this, and I would encourage you, if anybody has any questions for myself or Arun here, just reach out to us, email or social media or whatever. But ultimately, thank you for joining us. If you enjoyed this conversation, can you please share this episode with a friend who might also find it helpful? And remember to give us a rating right now, please. That helps us to spread the word to others who might find this valuable, just like you do. And lastly, make sure you hit subscribe on your favorite podcast player so you do not miss out on an episode from this year.